Have you been praying about one specific name and asking God for a sign and then another sign and then a backup sign just in case? Have you been checking their posts more than you're checking your peace, refreshing their stories like it's an altar call, while your spirit is trembling with what if and maybe and could this be? My friends, let me ask you a harder question. Are you chasing a confirmation that keeps you confused and on edge? Because if it feeds your anxiety, it is not how God confirms. God is not random, He is intentional. God is not theatrical, He is truthful. And what the world calls fate and what your feed calls a signal, I call a cycle, because it keeps you spinning but never settling. And this message is about to separate obsession from obedience. You cannot afford to miss this. Stay with me, because I am going to give you a clear framework you can test immediately. No flashing signs, no dramatic music, no cryptic coincidences that turn your prayer life into a scavenger hunt. God's confirmations do not breed panic and second guessing. They do not require you to stalk timelines or read numbers on license plates like tarot. God is not the author of confusion, and He will not sponsor your addiction to guessing games. He confirms with peace that steadies you, fruit that you can measure, and alignment that does not require you to become someone you are not. And if what you call confirmation only works when your emotions are high and collapses, when you are alone in silence, it is not from Him. Here is the twist you did not expect. The name may be real, the desire may be sincere, but the first confirmation may not be a yes to the person. It may be a no to your method, a no to your motive, and a yes to your maturity. Because I am the God who trims the branch before I increase the fruit. I am the one who orders the path before I ordain the partnership. And I will address your readiness before I reveal their identity. Are you praying for clarity or control? Are you asking me to bless your fantasy or to refine your discernment? Are you more consumed with the timeline than with transformation? Because what I confirm, I cover, and what I cover, I calm. Stay with me, because by the end you will know the difference between me confirming a person and me confirming your readiness. You will be able to lay down the name without losing your hope. You will be able to breathe again and say, if it is you, Lord, it will be peace, and if it is you, Lord, it will bear fruit, and if it is you, Lord, it will align without striving. Tonight I am pulling you out of prophetic roulette, out of coin toss prayers, out of midnight bargains that leave you exhausted by morning, and I am leading you into the kind of certainty that does not shout but settles, that does not tease but anchors, because when I speak, I do not torment your soul, I guard it. Hear me, my friends, for I am not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. And if I do not author it, you must not let it be your compass. Confusion is not your North Star. It is a foghorn warning you to pause and pray again. What I author, I order, and what I order, I anchor. So when your chest tightens and your mind spins and your sleep breaks in the middle watch because you are decoding a clue again and your heart drops again, that is not my confirmation, that is your soul, signaling that discernment is required. Let me confront the trap that keeps stealing your peace. You have turned prayer into surveillance. You reread the same thread and add emojis up like equations. You decode a like as a vow and a pause as a prophecy. You assign meaning to a color of a shirt and the timing of a post and the ping of a notification, and you call it a sign, but it is a guessing game that drains you. You keep promising yourself just one more peek, just one more refresh, just one more coincidence, and you will know. But your knowing gets smaller and your anxiety grows louder. I did not invite you into espionage. I invited you into peace. Do not confuse your research with revelation. Do not confuse your hunch with my hand. And hear this with sobriety: the enemy does not always send someone ugly. He sends someone appealing familiar time to your vulnerability and packaged as answered prayer. He studies your wounds. He mirrors your language. He echoes your dreams. He arrives when you are tired of waiting, and he wears the costume of destiny. But here are the markers that betray the counterfeit urgency that rushes you past wise counsel pressure, that pushes you to override your peace secrecy, that hides the relationship from accountability compromise, that makes you bend what you vowed to keep, and a constant need to prove that it is me, because without constant fuel the fire flickers. If it requires overtime explanations to justify it, it is not holy clarity, it is human salesmanship. If you have to say, do not tell them yet, do not bring it to your mentor, yet then you already know you are protecting a feeling, not partnering with my will. I am not shaming your desire, I see it. I formed it and I honor the longing I placed within you, but I will not confirm what will derail your destiny. I will not bless what requires you to break boundaries to maintain it. I am a father who protects, not a dealer who feeds addiction. I will not sponsor an obsession that robs you of wonder. My peace is not a tease, it is a guard. And when I confirm, I do not tighten your chest, I steady your steps. So when the so-called signs multiply, but your rest disappears, step back and submit the storyline to me again. Ask not for control, but for truth. Ask not for a person, but for purity of path. Pay attention to fruit and to the pace of grace. Does it draw you into prayer or push you into panic? Does it open doors without deceit or demand secrecy to survive? Confusion, pressure, and obsession are not confirmation. They are alarms calling you to discern. Stop chasing smoke and bring me the name, place it on the altar, and watch me either quiet the storm or quiet the name. I will not play games with your future. I will prepare you for it, and where I breathe, there will be peace, fruit, and alignment. Hear me, my friends, for you have been praying, is it them? And you have worn out your mind on maybes and almosts. But heaven starts with a different question, is it? My way, is it my timing? Is the route righteous? Before you ask about the rider, I confirm the path. Before I confirm the person, because a person is only right when the process is righteous. You want a name, but I am forming a nature. You want a timeline, but I am establishing truth and order and pace so you can carry what you are asking me to give. I am intentional, not random. Your steps are ordered, not improvised. Your encounters are orchestrated, not accidental, what the world calls coincidence. I call providence, and what you call silence, I often call safety. Delays that irritate you are shields that protect you. Detours that confuse you are corridors I prepared for you. Sometimes I hold back an answer because if I said yes to your request at your current speed, it would crash. So I slow you to save you. I hide to heal you. I quiet to qualify you, and when I confirm, I do not tease with mixed signals. I align with holy sequence, path, then pace, then person. Let me give you the lens that governs this season, because you keep grading chemistry, while I am measuring covenant potential. It is not just attraction, it is assignment. It is not just connection, it is character. It is not just companionship, it is covenant that advances my kingdom. Butterflies are not blueprints, and spark is not stewardship. The right person at the wrong time becomes a heavy weight, not a holy help, because covenant without preparation becomes congestion. And I love you too much to let your longing outrun your readiness, so I shepherd you by path and timing first. And hear this with clarity sometimes. My confirmation looks like a closing door, unanswered texts that you keep justifying, missed meetups that you call bad luck, awkward timing and inconvenient distance that you try to conquer with hustle. But I am the one rerouting what your emotions keep excusing. I am the father shutting a window, so you do not jump from the wrong floor. When the car doesn't start, when the calendar keeps colliding, when the conversation never lands, when counsel raises red flags, do not rebuke what I sent to rescue. I am not punishing you, I am preserving you. I am not withholding love, I am withholding loss. So reframe your prayer tonight. Stop asking me to stamp a name and start asking me to sanctify your way. Ask me, is my path in purity? Is my pace in peace? Is my pursuit in order? Is my timing surrendered to your hand? Place the desire before me and watch as I settle your feet before I settle your future. And because you cannot afford to miss this, let me tell you how I confirm without manipulation. It is simple, but it is weighty. 3 ways peace that guards you, not butterflies that betray you fruit. You can measure character consistency and reverence for me, an alignment without striving where doors open. Without you becoming someone else, stay with me, because when you see these, you will breathe again and you will know. Number 1, peace that guards you, not butterflies that betray you. Hear me. My friends, for the peace I give is not a mood swing, it is not a sugar rush, it is not a dopamine spike, it is a guard. Philippians 4:7 says, "My peace will guard your heart and your mind like a garrison standing watch through the night." It does not clock out when your emotions fluctuate. It does not abandon you when the conversation pauses. It does not evaporate when timelines go quiet. My peace is a rail on the cliff, a boundary that keeps you from falling, a steady hand that settles your breathing and clears your sight. And when I confirm, I do it with this guard, not with the butterflies that make you clumsy and blind. Butterflies are not bad. They are just not a blueprint. They can come from novelty and lust. They can erupt from insecurity that wants to be chosen. They can be a trauma bond trying to negotiate safety by recreating pain with a better ending. Butterflies can be adrenaline, and adrenaline can make fools look like future and patterns look like promises. But peace is different. Peace comes with clarity and steadiness. Peace lets you say yes without bargaining and no without panic. Peace slows your pace into obedience while adrenaline speeds you into impulse. Here is the difference. Peace remains under pressure and adrenaline demands another hit. Peace can sit in silence and still be sure, but adrenaline needs noise or it starts to doubt. So let me ask you in the light, because I am not the author of confusion. When you think about them, do you feel led or do you feel addicted? Does your spirit settle or does your mind race? Do you pray more or do you plot more? Does worship rise or do fantasies loop? Do you sleep deeper or do you wake to check your phone at 2 a.m.? Can you put the conversation down and still feel safe in me? Or do you need to keep feeding the thread to keep your fear from screaming? When wise counsel asks a hard question, do you feel anchored enough to listen or do you feel attacked and start defending a feeling you have not even tested? Here is your practical test. Remove the stimulus and watch what remains. Stop checking, stop probing, stop fishing for reassurance. Give it 48 hours, 7-2. If you are bold and measure the residue, if what you called confirmation collapses without constant feeding, it was not peace, it was a craving. If your joy only lives when they respond, it is not my guard, it is your need. But if the phone is dark and your soul is still light, if the schedule is full and your heart remains settled, then you are tasting the kind of peace I send. Bring it into the open, submit it to accountability. Do not keep it in secrecy and see if peace increases with light, because what is from me flourishes in counsel, and what is counterfeit demands a cave. And hear this with holy weight. My confirmations never require you to sin to sustain them. If you must lie to cover it, if you must cross boundaries to keep it, if you must ignore conviction to maintain momentum, it is not from me. Colossians 3:15. Let my peace rule in your heart. Like an umpire, call it safe or call it out and obey the call. Peace will not bully you. Peace will not rush you. Peace will not make you become another person to be accepted. It will guard you. It will pace you. It will keep you in order. And when it is me, you will not have to chase reassurance every hour. You will stand in assurance, even when the butterflies are gone. For I confirm with guarding peace, and where my peace stands, watch the heart can rest while the future unfolds. Number 2, fruit you can measure because covenant requires character, not just connection. Hear me. My friends, move your eyes from signs to patterns, from moments to months, from chemistry to character. Matthew 7:16, by their fruit. You will know them not by their captions, not by their charisma, not by how many scriptures they can quote in a text thread. You do not test a tree by a spring bloom. You test it by repeated harvests, through heat and through cold, through applause and through silence. So slow your pace into wisdom, because I confirm with fruit, and fruit needs time. Here are the fruits you must look for: honesty that tells the truth when it costs them, not just when it flatters them; humility that can be corrected without exploding or disappearing; self-control that says no to flesh when no one is watching; accountability that welcomes covering and does not dodge counsel; service that shows up quietly without a camera and without an invoice; repentance that is more than "I am sorry," it is measurable change over time; and consistent respect for you and for me, especially when the room is empty and the opportunity to compromise would be easy. Watch how they speak about people who cannot advance them. Watch how they treat a waiter. Watch how they talk about their former relationships. Watch whether they cut corners at work and then call it favor. Patterns will preach louder than promises. Now expose the fake fruit that keeps tricking your senses. Quick intensity that feels like destiny but has not met discipline. Charisma that fills a room but empties the quiet of reverence. Gifts that perform on a stage while secrets rot in the basement. Attention that floods you with flattery but fades when you say "not tonight, let us pray." Spiritual talk that uses God words without God ways. Hear me, gifting is not maturity, anointing is not accountability, and chemistry is not covenant. Do not confuse a well-lit platform with a well-formed person. I am not impressed by what can be rehearsed. I am moved by what can be repeated under pressure without pretense. Ask the hard questions. Do they draw you closer to me, or do you keep negotiating your convictions to keep them close? Do they honor boundaries or test them and call it romance? Can they be told no and remain kind? Do they apologize without flipping the blame? Do they initiate prayer and purity? Or do you carry the weight while they carry excuses? Does their pace respect your purpose, or do they rush you past counsel? Are they faithful in small things? Time, money, worship, promises, or do they engineer loopholes and rename them grace? Fruit will answer what flattery tries to fog. And hear this like a clock in your spirit: I confirm through time, because fruit is seasonal, not sensational. Consistency is a confirmation language, and constancy is a covenant accent. Wait long enough to see roots, not just leaves. Wait through a conflict to see whether peace rules or pride reigns. Wait through a lull to see if pursuit becomes prayer or performance. Do not rush the orchard and then weep at the harvest. Let the calendar confess what the mouth cannot hide. When it is me, you will see the slow glow of character, honesty, humility, self-control, accountability, service, repentance, and reverence converging into reliability, and your soul will exhale because you will not have to argue a case. The evidence will stand up by itself. For I confirm not with flashes but with fruit, and where I am forming covenant, I grow people, not fantasies. Number 3, alignment without striving, because what I ordain I sustain, and when I open a door no one can shut it. Revelation 3:7. Hear me, my friends. The grace I send does not make you passive. It makes you precise. Effortless does not mean lazy. It means you stop wrestling me for control and start walking with me in order. You still show up, you still communicate, you still honor boundaries, you still keep your word, but you stop manipulating outcomes, you stop auditioning for acceptance, you stop chasing a moving target and calling it pursuit. Alignment is not apathy, it is obedience in rhythm with my pace. You plant, you water, you pray, and I make the growth happen. You do not staple fruit to a branch and call it harvest. So, what does alignment look like? It looks like conversations that do not demand you compromise to keep them interested. It looks like clarity about intentions without you begging for labels. It looks like mutual pursuit with honor, where both make room in their calendars, not just their fantasies. It looks like wise counsel in the light, not secrecy in the shadows. It looks like values that match and paces that respect purpose. It looks like you being fully yourself in me while they are fully themselves in me, and neither has to shrink to fit the other's insecurity. It looks like prayer that increases desire but also increases discipline. It looks like peace that remains when the text thread is quiet, and plans that come together without you selling your soul for a schedule. Alignment is the small, unforced yeses that keep meeting each other, the favor that greets you at the door without you crafting a script, the steady handshakes between calling character and chemistry. Now, let me expose striving, because some of you have been exhausting your spirit and calling it faith. Striving looks like you initiating everything, the texts, the plans, the apologies, the spiritual temperature. You carry the emotional weight while they carry the convenience. You keep re-explaining boundaries, they keep retesting them. You fear abandonment, so you perform endurance. You accept crumbs and call it covenant. You explain away red flags as misunderstood passion. You silence your convictions to avoid their silence. You recruit secrecy because accountability would ask hard questions. You are not ready to face. You change your voice, your clothing, your convictions, your calling to avoid conflict, and then wonder why your worship feels thin. That is not alignment, that is captivity. That is not grace, that is grind. And I did not anoint you to beg your way into a bond that cannot hold the weight of destiny. Hear this with holy clarity. I do not attach you to someone that requires you to shrink, hide, or abandon your assignment. Covenant does not cage purpose, it elevates it. The person I send will not compete with your calling. They will complement it. They will protect your consecration. They will celebrate your boundaries. They will pray with you, not prey on you. Honor will be mutual. Pursuit will be mutual. Growth will be mutual. Not because you forced it, but because I formed it. Doors will open that match. Righteousness, not appetite. Opportunities will arise that ask for more of your integrity, not less. Community will witness it and bless it. And even when warfare shows up, as it will, you will not have to sin to keep it, nor sell your voice to soothe it, for what I ordain I sustain. Walk in this tonight. Stop managing impressions and start maintaining order. Release the scripts, release the sales pitch, release the constant rescue, and come back to alignment. Put the name in the light and let counsel look at it. Let time test it, let peace umpire it, and watch as striving falls off like a heavy coat in summer. And if it is me, the door will swing in season, and your soul will not have to scream to be heard. But my friends, before I confirm a person, I confirm you. I prepare you. Hear me, my friends, because I see you carrying a name like a stone in your pocket. You touch it 100 times a day. You dream about it. You rehearse it. You measure every coincidence against it. And you are asking, why will it not leave my mind? Let me comfort you first. Sometimes I do highlight a person for prayer. Sometimes I do place a burden that is light and steady, like a candle that does not flicker in the wind. But hear this with wisdom. Not every pull is prophetic. Sometimes your wounds are doing the highlighting. Your history is doing the underlining, and your fear is the one writing captions under moments I never posted. Do not be ashamed of the longing I gave you desire on purpose, but let me father your focus before your focus fathers a fantasy. There are two streams running through your heart, and you must learn their waters, intercession and fixation. Intercession is a peaceful burden that bows before me. It prays without grabbing it, asks without arranging it, loves without labeling it, carries a name to my altar and then walks away in peace, trusting my timing and my truth. Intercession sounds like I bless them, Lord, whether with me or without me. I pray your will, not my wish. It leaves the outcome in my hands, and it emerges with clarity and kindness. But fixation is different. Fixation is compulsion and control and catastrophic thinking. It says if I do not act now, I will miss destiny. It stalks reassurance and calls it research. It plays out future fights in the shower and drafts apologies for arguments that never happened. It tightens your chest and schedules your joy around their reply, and it cannot release the name because the name has become your oxygen. Let me name the roots so you can uproot them, rejection wounds that still bleed and want one person to bandage them, scarcity mindsets that whisper there will not be another chance, loneliness that echoes so loudly you will accept any voice that answers back, unmet desires to be chosen that turn attention into a sacrament and needing someone to confirm worth I have already sealed at the cross. These are real wounds, and I do not mock them, I heal them. I am near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. But if the name is feeding the wound more than the wound is being healed, then you are building a shrine to pain and calling it prophecy. Come back to me and let me tell you who you are before you ask them to do it. Here is your diagnostic posture, and I want you to pray it without performance. Lord, I release the outcome if it is not. You remove the appetite if it is. You purify the motive, then practice the release. Do not only say it, put it on the altar and walk away. For a set window, close the thread, lay down. The fantasy stops scripting the future, invite counsel into the conversation and watch what rises. If the appetite fades when the stimulus fades, you were feeding fixation. If the burden remains peaceful, specific, and free from panic, you are interceding. Intercession will make you kinder, calmer, cleaner. It will enlarge your worship and reduce your worry, but fixation will make you edgy, evasive, exhausted. And hear this with tenderness. When I am silent about the name, I am often loud about your healing. I point to the father wound, the abandonment, fear, the comparison trap, the people-pleasing. Habit, the untrue story that says you are lovable only if you are chosen. The waiting season is not a wasted season. It is a surgical suite where I remove what would sabotage covenant later. So let me work while you worship. Let me form while you follow. Stop bargaining for answers and start breathing in my peace, for when you can surrender the outcome, you are finally ready to hear me clearly. And if you cannot surrender the outcome, you are not interceding, you are fixating, and I love you too much to let fixation become your guide. Release the name and you will find your name again, chosen, known, secured, and at rest. Hear me, my friends, because now that you have placed the name on the altar, let me lead you into the workshop where I refine, shape, and mold you for what you are praying to carry. Waiting is not divine rejection. It is divine alignment, what you call delay. I call capacity building. I am enlarging the vessel so the blessing does not break it. I am fortifying foundations so covenant has somewhere to stand. Psalm 27:14. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage. I am strengthening your heart, because love is weighty. It is holy. It is assignment, and I will not hand you an assignment your character cannot yet sustain. I prepare you before I introduce you, because preparation is protection and prevention. Isaiah 64:8 says, I am the potter, you are the clay, and in my hands shaping is mercy, not punishment. Stretching is kindness, not cruelty. The kiln is not a cage. It is where fragility is cured into resilience. I teach you to hold peace under pressure. I train your no so your yes stays pure. I anchor your identity, so compliments do not become your compass. I rewire reactions and redeem reflexes because what you do without thinking will either protect covenant or puncture it, and I love you too much to let unconscious patterns sabotage answered prayer. So let me name the saboteurs, and do not flinch insecurity that becomes control. You check phones, you script conversations, you manage optics and call it care, but it is fear in a suit, fear that becomes jealousy. You track glances, you compare profiles, you keep score and name it discernment, but it is dread demanding data, unhealed trauma that becomes tests and accusations. You bait confessions, you create traps, you manufacture scenarios to prove you are safe, but safety is not verified by violence. Abandonment wounds that make you pre-reject so you will not be rejected. Scarcity mindsets that turn generosity into bargaining offense, that keeps receipts and then presents them as prophecy. If I handed you covenant untouched, these patterns would bruise it in the first month. So I am healing what would later humiliate you. I am pulling the fuse before the spark ever lights. Do not rush ahead of me. Do not force a door. Do not baptize red flags because you are tired of waiting. Do not rename panic as passion or pressure as purpose. You cannot fast-track formation without also fast-tracking fallout. If you insist on the shortcut, you will meet the lesson in the long way around. So, submit to counsel, bring your patterns to light. Confess the vow that said, I will never be vulnerable again. Renounce the script that says love always leaves. Forgive where bitterness still bargains for rent in your heart. Grieve what you never grieved. Lay down the coping mechanisms that kept you safe, but now keep you small, and let me rebuild you with truth, hope, and boundaries. Remember, this is not just about romance, it is about assignment. Not just connection, it is about character. Not just butterflies, it is about building an altar where my presence can rest. I will not attach destiny to dysfunction. I will not yoke purpose to panic. I will not crown chemistry where there is no covenant. Look at Adam formed in my presence before Eve arrived. Look at Ruth refined in fields that taught loyalty, humility, and stamina, before Boaz saw her. Look at Joseph, pruned in hidden places so he would not weaponize power when it finally came. What the world calls delay, I call design, because I am marrying promise to process. So receive my no or my not yet as a shield, not a sentence. I am not withholding joy. I am withstanding sabotage. I am making you safe to love and safe to be loved. I am turning triggers into testimonies and wounds into wisdom. Do not rush ahead. Do not force a door. Do not crown a feeling king because you are weary. Stay in worship, walk in accountability, work on wholeness, and when the time is full, peace will say go, fruit will say yes, alignment will open the door, and you will not have to rescue what I have ordained, for what I prepare I also sustain. Hear me, my friends, because I do not leave you guessing. I give you pictures and patterns, so your heart can rest. Look at Ruth 2 and tell me if this is not providence disguised as ordinary. The text says she happened to come to the field of Boaz. Ruth 2:3, but heaven does not do happenstance, your steps are ordered, and I was guiding her hunger into the geography of her future. No flashing signs, no dramatic music, just a widow choosing diligence over despair, gleaning behind reapers, because humility opens doors that hustle cannot. And what did confirmation look like? Not adrenaline and secrecy, but covering and honor and integrity. Boaz noticed but did not violate. He asked about her with respect. He commanded protection, do not touch her. He increased provision, let grain fall on purpose. He spoke, blessing the Lord, repay you for what you have done. And he did all of this in the light, with community watching and a God-fearing conscience leading. Do you see the alignment environment first, a safe field, not a secret room counsel next Naomi guiding her steps, with wisdom and timing character. Next Ruth's faithful work ethic. Loyalty to Naomi, reverence for Israel's God, and then provision next favor that did not require her to beg or bargain or become another person. And when the time matured, the elders at the gate witnessed the covenant Ruth 4, because what I confirm stands in the open under accountability, not in the shadows under anxiety. This is my handwriting, peace in the pace, fruit in the process, alignment, without striving, and a story that honors me at every turn. Now turn to Genesis 24 and learn how I make it clear without games. Abraham's servant prayed with specificity, not manipulation. Let the one you choose be the one who waters me and the camels, because service reveals substance. Enter Rebekah, not with flirtation, not with performance, but with quiet strength. She drew water for a stranger and kept drawing until 10 camels were satisfied, which is not a cute moment, it is character under load. Fruit preceded access, and generosity escorted destiny to the surface. The servant worshiped the Lord on the spot, because when it is me, worship rises before romance ignites. And then he met her family, and counsel spoke Laban. And Bethuel said, "This thing is from the Lord." Genesis 24:50. Do you see it? Environment, a public well, not a private compromise. Counsel, family, and order. Not secrecy and rush. Character, sacrificial service, hospitality, purity, provision, bracelets. Camels, a journey funded by heaven, and stewardship. Marked by gratitude, clarity honored everyone involved, and peace shepherded each step. So let me settle you. Your story may not look dramatic. It may look like errands and emails, like fields and wells, like loyalty and serving and showing up when it is inconvenient. But if you pay attention, you will find my handwriting in the peace that guards you, in the timing that keeps meeting you at the door, in the fruit that repeats itself without a sales pitch. You will see doors open in the light. You will feel counsel strengthening, not suffocating. You will hear worship rise where anxiety used to scream, because in Scripture and in your life, my confirmations are clear, honorable, and fruit-based. Never confusion-based, never anxiety-fueled, never funded by secret sin. And because you cannot afford to miss this, we must confront what masquerades as me next. We tear the mask off counterfeits that feel like answered prayer but produce compromise. Stay with me, because discernment will save you from devastation and preserve you for the covenant I am preparing. Hear me, my friends, because this is where many lose oil and call it love. A counterfeit is not neon wrong. It is near enough to pass a glance test, but off enough to drain your oil. Matthew 25, off enough to distract your purpose and dull your discernment. It does not usually come with horns, it comes with heat. It does not usually come with open rebellion, it comes with small permissions that add up to a prison. It will feel intense, it may even feel inevitable, but listen to. My voice and intensity that produces compromise is not confirmation, and what requires you to sin to sustain it is not from me. Here are the tactics, and I want your spirit on high alert. The enemy rushes intimacy, he will press for access. Before character is proven, he will call boundaries fear and pace control. He will say, "Why wait if our hearts know?" He isolates you from counsel subtly at first. Questions your mentors, makes jokes about accountability frames. The community as jealous or small-minded until your only feedback loop is flattery and fantasy. He makes you hide instead of shine. Suddenly the prayer life that used to blaze becomes secretive. The worship that used to be public becomes muted. Your consecration starts feeling like an inconvenience to be negotiated. He spiritualizes lust, throws Bible verses over disobedience, calls temptation a test of faith, and uses God language to camouflage appetite. He normalizes compromise, little cuts to your convictions, little nudges past your lines, little bargains with your integrity. until you wake up somewhere you promised you would never be. Urgency, confusion, secrecy. Those are his fingerprints, and you must not call them mine. So, test it with holy binaries. Does this pull you toward me or away? Do you pray more, or do you explain more? Do you walk in the light with clarity, or do you manage optics in confusion? 1 Corinthians 14:33. Does obedience increase, or does secrecy grow? Does counsel strengthen you, or irritate you? Do your boundaries get clearer, or do they keep moving? Do you find yourself repenting more and sinning less, or apologizing the same apology for the same boundary you keep erasing? By their fruit you will know them, Matthew 7:16, and by your fruit they will know you too. So watch who you are becoming around them, because transformation testifies louder than talk. Let me uncover the mimicry so you are not deceived. Chemistry can mimic peace, adrenaline can mimic leading, coincidence can mimic prophecy, algorithms and timing and playlists can echo your hunger back to you and make it feel like fate. Staged generosity can mimic fruit trauma. Matched wounds can mimic compatibility because shared pain feels like understanding, but peace remains when the music stops. Fruit remains when gifts are off stage, and alignment remains when no one is applauding. Remember this and write it on your heart. My will does not require you to shrink sin or strive to keep it. To the one who says, I have chosen wrong before I have slept with counterfeits. I have burned bridges to wisdom, and now I am afraid. Hear me, there is therefore now no condemnation for those in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. Condemnation chains you to shame correction, releases you to course correct. Deliverance begins with honesty. Bring it into the light. Ephesians 5:11. Confess. Where you crossed lines, tell the truth to me and to safe counsel. Cut the cords that keep you stuck. Delete, block, create distance. Tear down the secret altars where compromise demanded worship. Renounce the soul tie. Ask me to cleanse your memory, reset your appetite, restore your reverence, and I am near to the brokenhearted, and I will not despise a contrite spirit. Now, what do you do when you are praying about a name and you do not want to manipulate outcomes? You want to move in wisdom. You want to discern without controlling. Stay with me because I am about to teach you how to pray. The surrendered prayer, how to invite clarity without coercion, how to hold a name on the altar until peace, fruit, and alignment say move. You cannot afford to miss this, for what I ordain I sustain, and what I confirm I keep in the light. Hear me, my friends, because this is where your heart learns to breathe again. Shift your prayer language, and you will shift your posture. Stop saying, Lord, make them choose me, make them see me, make them stay, and begin to pray. Lord, reveal the truth, expose motives, align my steps, and close the doors. I keep trying to reopen. Say it with holy courage. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Psalm 139:23. Purify my desires. Prune my fantasies. Correct my pace. I do not confirm by compulsion. I confirm by clarity. So ask me for light, not leverage for wisdom, not winning for righteousness, not results. Here is your simple rhythm, and I want it to beat like a drum in your chest every day. Ask for peace, ask for fruit, ask for alignment, Lord. Let your peace rule in my heart. Colossians 3:15. And if peace departs, let that be my red light, not my cue to press harder. Lord, show me fruit, character, consistency, reverence. Matthew 7:16. And if the harvest is thin, do not let me decorate the tree with excuses. Lord, reveal alignment, open what you ordain and shut what you forbid. Revelation 3:7. And if I am forcing outcomes, reveal my striving and bring me back to order. Then add this petition. Remove counterfeit attachments, untie soul ties. Cleanse my memory, heal my impatience, and teach me to wait with worship. Philippians 4:7 will guard your heart and mind as you refuse anxiety. and request peace, and James 1:5 will meet you with wisdom generously if you ask without double-minded games. Practice the open door, closed door posture, and let it set you free. You do your part in righteousness, but you let me govern outcomes. You honor timelines, you keep boundaries, you tell the truth. You stay in the light and you refuse to scheme for certainty. You do not send bait texts. You do not stage jealousy tests. You do not crowdsource manipulation and call it research. You say, Lord, I will knock with honor, but I will not hammer with control. If you open, I will walk. If you close, I will worship. If you pause, I will serve where I stand. This is not passivity. It is precision. This is not apathy. It is allegiance to my sovereignty. Bring this out of the shadows, because secrecy is where confusion multiplies. Invite wise counsel and community into the process. Where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Let mentors, elders, pastors, trusted friends, who love me and love you, ask the hard questions and weigh the fruit. Let them see the text threads, not just hear the highlights. Let them sit with your story, not just your longing. Confirmations grow stronger in the light and weaker in the echo chamber of your own hopes. So submit the name to community and to time and watch how clarity compounds. Now here is your activation. Choose a set window, 7 days, 14 days, 21, and put the name on the altar. Fast from the fantasy, reduce the stimuli. Step back from constant checking, and every day, pray the rhythm, peace, fruit alignment, plus deliverance from counterfeits and healing for impatience. Journal what rises, not the drama, the data. How does peace behave? What fruit appears? What doors move with no pushing? What counsel says go or wait? And at the end, obey the witness, not the itch. If peace held, if fruit showed, if alignment opened, walk with humility. If confusion ruled, if striving was required, if counsel flagged it, release with worship and let me redirect. And hear me with relief in your bones when I confirm you will not have to beg and you will not have to break yourself to be chosen. I will not make you audition for what I have assigned. I will not require you to sin to sustain what I have blessed. Pray for truth and alignment, not control, because I confirm by clarity, not by compulsion. And when it is me, peace will stand guard. Fruit will testify, alignment will usher you forward, and your soul will finally rest. Hear me, my friends, because this is where your shoulders finally drop, and your chest remembers how to breathe. When I confirm, you will not have to chase what I have assigned. You will not be auditioning for attention, performing for crumbs, or drowning in mixed signals. You will not be rewriting your soul to stay in a story I did not write. You will notice the anxiety quiet, like a storm that has run out of wind, and the confusion that used to blur your vision will clear until you can see the road again. Philippians 4:7 will not be a verse. You quote it will become the guard at your gate, peace standing there with authority saying this way, yes, that way, no, and your heart will obey without panic. Let me paint the relief, because some of you have never known it. Conversations are honest without you curating your worth every 5 minutes. Rhythms settle without you chasing a dopamine spike to prove you are still desired. You are not calculating pauses and punctuation looking for secret codes. There is pursuit, but not pressure. There is interest, but not idolatry. There is clarity, but not control. And you look in the mirror and realize you did not have to lose yourself to be loved. Confirmation in my kingdom restores identity before it confirms intimacy. I whisper you are complete in me, Colossians 2:10, and the echo makes you safe to receive, not starving to consume. This is the stamp of destiny on a covenant that I author. It strengthens your calling. It does not compete with it. It builds. It does not drain. Watch how purpose rises, not as a rival, but as a rhythm. Your disciplines deepen. Your worship widens your integrity. gets weight to it. Your generosity grows bolder, your assignments sharpen, and you do not have to apologize for your anointing to keep affection in the room. Iron sharpens iron, and you both get better, not bitter. You both get holier, not heavier. My will never cages your obedience, it accelerates it in order. To the one wounded by collapse, hear me with tenderness. The last relationship falling apart does not mean you missed me forever. It means I am merciful enough to end what could not carry you. I redeem, I reset, I realign. Romans 8:28 is not a slogan. I am weaving even the frayed edges into something strong. I forgive where you crossed lines. I restore where you lost years. I return your laughter. I rethread your future with glory. What the enemy used to humiliate you, I will use to educate you and to elevate you. And no chapter closed by my hand is a tomb, it is a seed. So let relief teach you discernment. Divine alignment does not demand desperate chasing. When it is me, the pace is steady. The tone is clear, the fruit is visible, the doors open in the light. When it is me, you do not manage chaos and call it passion. You steward peace and call it love. When it is me, you pray more than you post, you honor more than you hype. You walk more than you worry, and goodness and mercy follow you. Psalm 23:6, because you are not sprinting after what I already assigned to meet you. Now, if this message is speaking to you, you must respond in faith, not fear. Release the scripts, release the scramble, receive the rest. Choose obedience over obsession. Choose peace over panic. Choose alignment over appearance. I am about to lead you into a simple step, a public declaration and a private boundary that will anchor this revelation in motion. Breathe and be ready, because what I ordain, I sustain, and I am bringing you into the relief of real confirmation. Hear me, my friends, because the word is not complete until it becomes a walk, and tonight I am asking you to move, not tomorrow, not when the mood returns tonight. Choose one boundary that breaks the guessing cycle and put it in place. Close the window you keep peeking through. Stop the late-night scrolling that inflames fantasy. Unfollow, mute, or delete the thread that keeps you spinning. Stop initiating from fear. Stop apologizing for your no-stop, compromising standards to keep a conversation warm. Stop entertaining secret messages that never make it to the light. If it cannot stand daylight, it cannot steward destiny, and if it must stay hidden to survive, it is not from me. Pick one thing and draw the line, because obedience at the door invites clarity into the room. I am giving you language and examples, so you cannot pretend you did not know what to do. No more drive-by checks on their profile to measure if you still matter. No more texting out of panic when peace goes silent. No more, I was just thinking about you at 1 a.m. While your accountability sleeps. No more small talk that becomes soft sin. Bring it to the light or bring it to an end. Set a time boundary and honor it. Set a communication boundary and keep it set. A physical boundary and guard it. Tell wise counsel the boundary you are choosing. So momentum cannot evaporate in the morning, and when the urge to cross it rises, choose worship over wandering. Choose scripture over scrolling. Choose a call to counsel over a call to confusion. I am not trying to punish your desire. I am trying to protect your destiny. Now open your mouth and give me your public declaration, because confession breaks the back of confusion. Say, Lord, I release the name, I place it on your altar, and I step back. Lord, if it is not, you remove it from my appetite. If it is, you confirm it with peace, fruit, and alignment. And then let community seal it. Type in the comments, Lord, I trust your timing, and type I choose peace over obsession, because what you write tonight will disciple you tomorrow when feelings try to rewrite the terms. Agreement in the light builds a fence around your future. And hear me with mission in your bones. Partner with this word, so others can escape the maze you just exited. Like, subscribe and share, not for vanity, not for numbers, but so sons and daughters stuck in guessing games can find clarity and come back to my order. Every share is a seed of rescue. Every like is a lighthouse flicker. Every subscription is agreement to build an altar of peace in a culture of pressure. Help me gather the scattered by placing light where they scroll. Now lift your hands and receive this blessing. I speak peace over your mind that has been pacing. I command the storm to be still. I speak discernment over your heart, that it would test fruit, not chase fireworks. I speak divine alignment over your steps, that doors would open without striving and wrong rooms would lose their appeal. I bless your phone with silence where chaos used to ring. I bless your sleep with dreams that cleanse, not confuse. I bless your days with courage to obey, and your nights with rest that restores. Grace to wait without wasting, grace to walk away, without wavering, grace to walk in when I open with wonder. My peace guard you, my wisdom guide you, my favor go before you and gather you into what I have ordained. Your part is surrender and obedience. My part is confirmation, and I will do it. My way now, go set the boundary. Say the declaration, write the confession, and watch how quickly relief takes its rightful seat in your soul.